Peace, family. Peace, family. We're gonna start soon. I'm gonna get my brother Sheik Seven Islam ill on shortly. So I appreciate you for jumping on a special episode of Masterminds with Brother Shemel. He was bringing some more people on, spreading the good word, sharing the link. Go ahead and share this link. We on live now, so let everybody know. We're gonna get started shortly. Peace. We're gonna start shortly in a moment, everybody. Everything's ready. We're gonna have an exciting interview. And I think you will all enjoy it. Time frame begins here. Peace. You tuned in to Masterminds with Brother Shemel. Like I said, we are about to have a real dynamic interview with none other than Sheik Seven Islam. He is the author of the book titled Nationality, Moorish-American Perspective. Right? So I spoke to the brother earlier today, and he just sent me a text saying that he's on his way. Matter of fact, I have everybody here. I'm going to go ahead and share the link where you can all get this good book. What the brother? That is the link. It's on the book patch website. You can go ahead, check it out. Nationality, a Moorish-American Perspective. So while I wait for my brother to get on, basically, just to let you know, again, I appreciate everybody coming on and supporting as we get ready for this interview. If you have not checked out my website, please check out my website, shemel.com. That's SHEM-EL.com. I thank everybody for the support, the continued support of my YouTube channel, of my podcast, which is on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all over. So I really appreciate it. We want to keep this content going. I want to give special honors to my brother, Sheik brother J. Howard Bay. I just got off the phone with him. He's on his way back to Delaware. He was over there in D.C. He attended the reparations rally out there in D.C. today that was hosted by Tariq Rashid. And of course, a host of speakers there. Let me see. Visit Islam, Professor Kaba Kamini, uh, just a host of different speakers there. So, you know, Islam, they're ignored, Islam, my brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate everyone getting on. Um, yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see what follows after that. I actually was planning to myself do a particular video on this whole reparations thing. And I still may do it later, but I said I was going to hold off to see what my brother Jay Howard Bay would have to say. So yeah, stay tuned. And so I'm going to kind of give a backstory for tonight's interview in terms of my introduction to this brother. So this particular brother that I'm about to interview tonight, I had the pleasure of meeting him some years ago. He actually is in the state of North Carolina as well. He's out there in Charlotte, North Carolina. Uh, Originally, I believe we connected through Ali, if I'm not mistaken. We may have first connected there. We may have connected before this, uh, but I had the opportunity to meet him in person at Concord. There was an event honest with him, uh, brother out in Raleigh, Sheik Seven Islam was there, Dr. Alim El Bay was there, brother Dr. Roger Bay, he was there as well. There was a host of brothers and sisters there, you know, working to try to unify the Moors in North Carolina. We took out event out there, and that was the first time I actually met the brother in person. So we had a number of phone conversations. Uh, One of the last ones we had a real long, deep conversation. Spoke about many things. We had a great mutual respect for each other. So when I spoke to him earlier today, around noon, I told him uh, everything, how we were going to do everything. He said, cool, he's going to get some rest and going to be prepared. So he just texted me like right around the time I just started the live and said he's getting himself together now. So we waiting on him. But that said, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate everybody on the line. I'm not sure if it's going to take him a little longer than before. I mean, longer than expected, I should say. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to post on the chat. Anything that's on your mind you want to talk about, you know what I'm saying? If somebody wants to get on and be seen, I'll add you on. I ain't got no problem with that because I like the interaction. I appreciate the feedback from everybody. You know, what we're trying to do and just give some in-depth insight on this. One of the things we want to do with this YouTube channel is create a space where we have intelligent conversations about more science, about nationality, um, political status, about spirituality, really intelligent conversations and not just a bunch of sensationalism, um, not just a bunch of far-fetched theories. We respect everybody's views. Everybody's views should be respected. Um, and I think at the end of the day, with what we have, which was really given to us by Noble Drew Ali, we're in a unique position where we can present this information in a manner where it's just highly intelligent, because this is high intelligent information. This is not, no cultural thing that this movement, the Moorish movement, uh, has received some bad stigma due to the actions of the two bad actors. Is Islam, Proud Face Sheik, my brother, Jay Howard Bay. What's going on? What's going on? You know, I'm just We're just bringing you up, talking about your trip. So we're waiting on the guest. If you want to come up, I can send you the invite. You know what I'm saying? Let me know. I'll send you the invite right now if you want to hop on. And we'll build for a quick minute um, while our guest comes on. Uh, so let me know. I ain't got no problem shooting you directly the link to this live. So you can jump in, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so again, everyone, this is uh, the name of this episode is Divine and National Interview with Sheik Seven Islam, and we will wait for him shortly, and then once he comes through, we'll get right to it. Islam, Sister Wanda, Hazelette Bay. Islam, my sister, appreciate you coming in. Yeah, Moors. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about nationality. We're gonna get into uh, really what is nationality, how it works, pertaining to the government. We're gonna dive into it. And my brother is on. Hold on, let me add him on. Islam.
Islam, beloved.
Islam, Islam.
Wow.
Happy you can make it, brother.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir. Yes, sir.
yes, sir. Islam. So, without further ado, I've been telling the people about you. Again, I want to highlight your book here, Nationality, a
Yes, sir.
Moorish-American Perspective. And I
Great.
just want to read it out. It says, Sheik Seven Islam L is a dynamic speaker, author, lecturer, researcher, historian, and humanitarian. He is also an advocate of the uplifting of fallen humanity, the importance of nationality, as this subject arises more in these days and times during a time when consciousness is becoming more of a fad than a reality. Many are grasping the concept with little to no understanding of what it is and how it works in this said government. In this pamphlet, I intend to give my portion on the subject matter, which is inspired and guided by the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Moor Science Temple of America, a religious organization founded for the purpose of uplifting fallen humanity and teaching its members those things necessary to make them better citizens. The fact is, no one had come to identify the so-called Negro colored black after the suffering of the institution of slavery, leaving them ignorant and blind to their origins in this world, both spiritually, physically, historically, and culturally. Now, as we stand in the age of what is called the information age, the desire and ability to acquire information and knowledge is growing to great proportions. Islam. More.
Islam.
Without further ado, I introduce to everyone on the live stream and those who will be viewing this after the live to my good brother Sheik Seven Islam L. You will introduce yourself to the people, Mo.
Islam. Islam. First, allow me to rise, giving all thanks and praises to the great God Allah, Almighty, eternal, incomprehensible, the causeless cause and rootless root from which all things have grown. I extend highest honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, honors to the forerunner Marcus Mosiah Garth, and honors to all present, past, and future leadership of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and honors to everyone on the listening panel. Islam.
Islam.
My name is Sheik Seven Islam L. I'm just a humble Moorish-American Muslim, striving to be the best Muslim that I can be, striving to embody the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and striving to do my part in the uplifting of fallen humanity. I'm um I'm a Grand Sheik of a local branch temple, um, number 3 here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America since about 2014. I've been a Sheik since about 2017. Um, and what else can I say? I'm just, I'm thankful to be here, and honors and gratitude for having me, brother, man.
Islam, more gratitude for you being on, brother. I appreciate you answering the call, and the invite. As I said before you came on, is nothing but mutual love and respect for each other. We've known each other for quite some time, have had great conversations. So it's just natural to have you on here more. And this, I'm not even looking for this to be a one and done. I'm looking for, my platform is always open to you, brother. And I'm saying that from the heart. So,
yes, I appreciate it. Honest gratitude, brother.
yes, sir. So, and before I do continue on, I'm going to highlight this platform, your link. This is the link below, everybody. And I'll be repeating, showing this link. Everyone who wants to get this book, go to this link. It's at the bookpatch.com website. Go to the bookstore, type up the actual website, the actual title, which is Nationality, a Moorish-American Perspective, and you'll be able to cop that. So without further ado, I want to ask you, my brother, I always like to ask guests this. Those who are part of this Moorish Divine and National Movement, to give a little background about yourself and how you came into the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Praise Allah. Wow. Boy. Well, I guess I have to go back some all the way back to the year 1996. I took my Shahada as a Sunni Muslim in the year 1996 at the tender age of 16. From that portion, I traveled into the Sufi Maktab. I studied under the teachings of Baba al-Muhayyideen. I then went from there into the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and eventually found myself in the Nation of Gods on Earth, which I stayed for quite some time, which is actually where I got the name Seven. Um, throughout my travels, I've been through through several schools of thought, studied amongst quite a few wise and intelligent brothers and sisters. Um, and in the year 2013, 14, the Prophet found me wandering around in darkness, and the rest is history.
Islam. Yes, sir. So one of the things I noticed is you mentioned about you starting off into, what they would consider mainstream Islam, but you had an inclination to Sufism,
Yes,
and to the Sufi path.
yes, sir.
And I think that's something that we share, because me myself, I took my Shahada when I was 15 years old. In New York, I was in the Ansar Allah community, and from there, I studied a lot of Sufi teachings. What was it that drew you to, one, before we get to the Prophet? What drew you to Sufism, and what finally brought you to say, this is where I'm going to anchor myself into the Moorish Science Temple of America. This is where I'm putting my anchor at.
Well, what initially gravitated me towards Sufism was it answered a portion of my wondering, shall I say? Because I always knew that Allah, for some reason, I always knew that Allah and man had a deeper connection than what mainstream religious thought propagates. So when I heard the teachings of Sufism and it taught about Allah and man being one, and that Allah has a direct connection to man and interfaces with man and the universe, I was blown. I was like, wow. So as I delved deeper into that thought, which in Islam we call that tawheed, oneness. As I walked that path and I studied it, and I came into the teachings of the Prophet Noble Jew Ali, I automatically saw the science of tawheed in the Prophet's teaching. From the very first sentence of chapter 1, time never was when man was not. It just automatically took me there. And then once I delved into the teachings of the Prophet Noble Jew Ali, and not only dealt with my spiritual growth and development, it also dealt with a part of myself that I knew I had missing, which was my national identity. That had never been addressed. Only thing that had never been addressed. So when I got into the Prophet's teachings and he started teaching us about what nationality was, and then I got into the understanding that nationality is a divine concept, I was like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? And as I anchored myself into the teachings of the Prophet Noble Jew Ali, then I understood how my nationality, how me being an Asiatic was actually divine. And I was just, from that point on, I just knew I would never lead a Moorish-American Temple of America.
Islam. I think many of us share that feeling when we first hear about nationality, because nationality is a concept, like you said, we've never been taught that in any institution, church, school, no religion, never. And for the Prophet to be able to introduce it and put it in such a manner where it makes all the sense in the world.
Yes, sir.
It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing to really ponder about what he really presented. Like it just, there's so many levels to it. And we're going to dive into it with your book, because you touch on different aspects on how nationality works. So, so to segue into your book, Nationality, a Moorish Perspective. If someone was to ask you, it came on the street and said, and I'm sure you've had a similar conversation, like, brother, I see you with the fez on. You know, I heard about the Moors. I heard about this nationality thing. What is nationality? If they were just to ask you just straight up, what would be the answer you would give?
The immediate answer, if they asked me what nationality was, I'd immediately ask them what the root word of nationality is.
Nation.
And the root word of nationality is nation.
Yeah.
Automatically showing that attaches us to a specific nation, people, and geographical location. A common ancestry, common language, a common belief system. Islam. So then from that point, I would have to ask them, now that we know that, can you tell me what nation that you derive from or you descend from?
Right.
See, one thing I've noticed, especially being in the Moorish-American Temple of America, and I give honors to the Holy Prophet for giving us the Quran questions for Moorish-American.
Right.
See, the Quran questions for Moorish-American is so impactful because the Prophet asks questions. Not only does he give you an answer, he asks you a question, and the question, what does it do? It automatically makes one think immediately.
Yes.
If I ask you a question, the first thing you're gonna do is think. You gotta think about it. So I've
Absolutely.
learned how important asking questions are. So in my delivery or in my conveyance of the concept of nationality, I always expose the root word of nationality. And this is from a simple level because, we can get into all the definitions and all of this, but when we're dealing with a people who, like myself, I had never heard of nationality before the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew.
Right.
So you have to bring it to the people in a manner where they can digest it. So, yeah, I always ask, what's the root of nationality? Then we get to the word nation. Then I ask a question. Can you tell me what nation of people you derive from? And 9 times out of 10, no one can.
No.
No one can. So then I ask them I have to ask them another question. How important do you think it is that you should know from what people you descend from? And a lot of people are like, well, I don't care. I don't know. And then they ask me, what does that matter?
Right.
So
Right.
when I've been asked that, what does that matter? I ask them, it's just as important as you knowing your name.
Speak
And
to that.
we've always been taught a good name is better than
Gold.
gold.
Silver and gold. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So in knowing this, what is a name? A name speaks towards a particular condition or state. Just like my middle name is Rahim. Rahim, it means merciful. That speaks to a certain aspect of my character.
Yes.
Islam. So when we have a name, it's as important as knowing your name. It's important to know this because it alludes to exactly who you are. Because in the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, we understand that nationality is the foundation of humanity.
Yes.
Because every individual, every human being descends from a particular nation or tribe. It's no way around it.
Right. Right.
I've heard our brother Sharif Ani Al-Bay so many times say that you can call yourself what you want to call yourself in the bathroom. But when we're on this grand stage, we're on this grand stage of we can put it like this. When we're on the grand stage of dealing with the family of nation, who are you?
Yes.
Who are you?
Right.
So knowing and comprehending what nationality is as important as knowing your name.
Absolutely.
The ability to identify who you are. And we know in the Moorish-American Temple of America that Black, Negro, colored, Ethiopian is not a proper identifier.
Yes.
So many people are attempting to identify themselves with things that are not even attached to the human family. And that goes for white too. We're not going to get around that.
Right.
Because we're so quick to talk about Negro, Black, colored, Ethiopian, etc., that we forget that too. White is not our proper identifier either.
Right.
So that's why I named the book Nationality from a Moorish Perspective, because every human being has one, whether they know it or not.
Right. Right.
So I'm dealing with the subject of nationality from a Moorish perspective. But however, for anyone listening, no matter where you're from, you should know who you descend from, because that is the epitome of who you are. As we're talking the Moorish-American Temple of America, we are what our ancient forefathers were. This today, without doubt or contradiction.
Yeah.
So again, nationality is just knowing your nationality is just as important as knowing your name. And matter of fact, I think it's safe to say that if you don't know your nationality, you don't have a proper name.
Exactly. Free national name. That's right. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, brother. There's so much to unpack in what you said. I want to address the part that you spoke about being on the grand stage of the family of nations.
Yes, sir.
And that ties into your chapter on nationality and government.
Yes,
So as I know you're well aware of, um, and Sister Hazelette Bay said that's true. Absolutely, that is true. Um, there's a lot of conversation in recently in talks of reparations, right?
Oh,
Matter of fact, there was just a reparations rally in DC today. There was
yes,
just
sir.
a reparations rally, right? So a lot of the conversation is in the context of how do you get reparations? You know what I'm saying? People say, well, is it based on race? Is it based on lineage? Why these groups get reparations and the so-called Black and African American don't get reparations? And I've always said that reparations is a political thing, and
Yes, sir.
nationality determines political status. If you
Yes, sir.
look at the list of people who have received reparations, they all have one thing in common: they all have a nationality. There's no
They
getting
do.
around it.
Yes, sir.
So, in this context, um, from your measure of understanding, when it comes to this conversation and conversations like that, what do you say to them who either avoid the talk about nationality, whether it's to misunderstanding, they don't know what it is, like you said, some people don't know what that means,
Yes, sir.
or they will even go so far based on their misunderstanding to say that nationality doesn't work for us. What is your take on that?
Well, let's get down. Let's get into that conversation where we deal with the definition of nationality.
Right.
All right. Nationality is the quality of character arising from the fact of belonging to a nation or state. Nationality determines political status, especially in reference to allegiance.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to understand, and this is me. You know what I'm saying? Nothing that I'm saying is law. This is me. Just let's say this is me from a layman's perspective, just looking at the situation. Okay.
Yes.
From a layman's perspective, we're dealing with nationality. We're dealing with reparations. Reparations automatically is given to a nation of people.
Absolutely.
I mean, you just don't pick out individuals like you. You know.
Yeah.
So it's given to a nation of people. But see, I want to address this political status thing.
Yes.
Because we have to ask ourselves, what is this political status that's being spoken about? Because that has not been identified. The elephant in the room has not been addressed in many situations when we talk about the subject matter of nationality. That portion, nationality determines political status. Now, what is a political status? Let's ask ourselves that. Right. Because I hear so many definitions, and I'm not knocking anybody. Let me say that first before I even begin on my demonstrating this. No matter, allow me to say, anyone who does not share my understanding or my perspective on this matter I'm not speaking down or condescending on your understanding.
Right.
I'm just building from my understanding. Islam.
Islam.
So when we're dealing with this political status, right? What is a political status? That is your status or your standing with government.
Yes.
Now, the prophet gave us one word that is so pertinent. Everyone loves to get around this word when it comes to nationality. Citizenship.
Citizenship. That's right.
Citizenship. Everyone wants, oh, I'm a Moor, but I ain't no citizen of the United States of America.
I'm a national.
I'm a national. Well, let's get to this point right here. All
Right.
citizens are national,
Exactly.
but all nationals are not citizens.
Correct.
Right. So now that we get this political status thing out the way, your political status, my political status in this government is I am a citizen of the U.S.A.
You're right.
That's my political status. I'm a citizen.
Right.
You're either going to be a citizen or you're not. You're either going to be in the fold of government, the constitutional fold of government, or you're not. It's no in between. It's either you are or you're not. What is a constitutional fold of government for those who might want to ask that question? Constitutional means lawful. Fold means society.
Mm.
The lawful society.
Right.
See, being a part of this lawful society, right? It gives you rights that this government is bound to respect, i.e., Amendment 1 of the Constitution. I exercise this right every day. Every day. When I wear this fez, when I'm wearing this medallion, and when I carry my nationality card, I'm exercising my First Amendment right. Unmolested. Islam?
Islam.
So now that we deal with the political status and understand that, citizenship is a part of this political status, now we ask ourselves, okay, since we understand that reparation is given to a nation of people, and nationality is a big portion of this said conversation because it identifies who you are. It identifies, okay, are you a part of this said? Do you descend from this said nation of people who deserve this particular reparation? Because then we'll have, if not, then we'll have, excuse my expression, the $5 Indian thing coming up again. Right?
Right.
Well, we could just go and sign a piece of paper and say, okay, yeah, I get that. Who are you? Who are you to demand this government this particular degree of reparation? Who are you? You've yet to identify yourself. We have people still trying to identify with colors and crayons, attempting to speak on a grand scale, on this grand platform known as the family of nations. Who are you? As the prophet said, what shall we call him? Islam. And this is the problem. We can talk about reparations all we want, how much we deserve it. I feel like every Asiatic person in this country deserves something. However, that elephant in the room called nationality is going to have to be addressed.
Islam. You're right. And when you speak about that, like you said, identifying with the colors and all of that, one of the things, and I know you know I've been driving this home with the hammer about that Federal Directive 15 and the definitions of these races. classifications.
Right.
When you use the term black, like our brother Sharif Aniel Bey said, you can call yourself whatever you want to in the bathroom. But when it comes to the law, they're going by their definitions according to law on what black is. It
Yes,
don't
sir.
matter what you add before it or after it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And there's a specific definition of the word black. And if everybody was serious about looking up that definition, in my humble opinion, it would really make you rethink about that term. It really would, because what are you really saying? Who do you, like you said, who do you belong to? What nation? Does that tie to a nation? It don't even, not even in their definition it ties to a nation. All these other race classifications deal with national origin. But even the term black, that's drives home what the prophet said when he said, what is meant by the word black? Black, according to science, means death. And we're not talking about a physical death or spiritual death. Death is civil little more too, dead in the eyes of the law.
Yes,
You
sir.
what I'm saying? So yeah, brother, you just hammered that one. And like you said, we could talk about it in length. And again, we're not, and I'm speaking for myself, and I know many Moors feel this way. We all should get our just due,
Yeah.
and I believe that the prophet had given us something where we can be in that position to do that, because you have to have that conversation with the family of nations. You have to be able to do that. There has to be a flag. There has to be a nation. You get what I'm saying? Has to be a continuous historical link that you can trace yourself back to. You see what I'm saying? In other words, it don't just start with slavery. That's not, it cannot be your origin. Your origin as a people cannot be slavery and then you saying that you are a nation of people.
Right.
If that makes sense. That's an experience.
Right.
That's not our origin. You know? So yeah, brother, it's like it really gets deep, and when we have more of these conversations, I think people will start to wake up.
And then also look at this. And I like to speak towards my brothers and sisters, because I get this a lot, right? I get this, excuse me for a second. What? We get this dialogue, right?
Yeah.
Where we have our brothers and sisters, and I don't want to point, pinpoint anyone.
Right.
But what happens is, in the sense of attempting to identify with something outside of the institution of slavery, because so many of us are in search of this identity outside of that particular paradigm.
Right.
I've had a lot of brothers who come to me from the Kemetic degree, right? Mm-hmm. And they'll say, brother, I demonstrate the Kemetic degree that's older than the Moorish degree. Why you don't take it back further? Right? And I have to ask them something, man. Have we forgotten how eras in time work? It's like coming from this present day and hopping over a whole era of time straight into the ancient world.
Right.
With no bridge.
None.
There is no bridge connecting you from this modern age to this ancient age. Hence, I love the brother Sharif Aniel Bey when he says the old world narrative.
Right.
The old world. You jump right from modern over the top of old straight into ancient.
Mm.
You know what you do yourself an injustice.
True.
You do yourself an injustice because you don't even acknowledge the transition from the ancient world into the old, into the modern. So what happens is you have a portion of your mental growth and development stunted.
Mm.
You don't even understand who you are from this point to now. And this is why we have so many individuals who will argue with me and you about being Moorish.
Right. Right.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
I've had brothers and sisters, oh, you demonstrate Islam. We can go further than that. Why you don't demonstrate what was and the Kemet? Well, the Moors are the custodians of that ancient Egyptian mystery system.
Absolutely.
Islam within itself, let me say it like that. Let me
Mm-hmm.
say it like that. Islam carries and is a custodian of the ancient Egyptian mystery system.
Right.
And I say that boldly. So when we have this portion of attempting to wipe out or forget about a complete era in time, you do your own people a disservice. That's like me acknowledging my great grandmother and not acknowledging my grandmother.
Right.
Like, what's the bridge to get me from this point to that point?
Exactly.
And in that process of not acknowledging that bridge, you're losing identity.
Mm.
You're losing identity. We must be, and this is why I love the Prophet Noble Drew Ali's teachings, because when we study his teachings, what he does is he identifies you through eras of time.
Exactly. Exactly.
He had identified us ancient Moabite. He gave us the modern term Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the term Moorish-American. Here we go through ages of time being identified. I can pinpoint myself throughout ages of time. So when we begin to jump over ages of time, you're losing identity. You're doing yourself and your people and your history a disservice. And by the way, the Moors were the rulers of the old world. Why wouldn't you want that? Why wouldn't you want to claim that?
Right.
Why wouldn't I want to attach myself back to that point? This is what Islamism is.
Yes.
This is what religion is. Because and that's a subject within itself. Because so many people are quick to say, I'm not religious, I'm not religious, I'm not religious. I would say you better get you one. Islam?
Islam. Speak to that. Speak to that point.
First and foremost, every nation of people, right? Every nation of people has their acknowledgement of deity. Every nation of people.
Right.
Let's look at what does it say? We the people, right?
Yes.
Endowed with what?
God-given.
Unalienable rights.
Unalienable rights, right. Yeah.
Right. Without acknowledging that in this particular government, where does your rights come from? Because see, what we have to understand is that the Constitution protects rights that we will already have God-given. It protects your right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and everything in between. Right?
Right.
So without your connection to deity, without your connection to deity or some sort of system, Who is this creator which endowed you with unalienable rights? So where does your innate divine right come from? Or do you have any? You see?
Mm-hmm.
Now, religion. A lot of people like to say, I don't have a religion. Religion is this and religion is that. No, no. Religion comes from a Latin word, religere or religio, right? We can go to either word. One means to bind to, the other one means to tie back, right? We have a statement that the prophet said that bind ourselves back to the mind of our ancient forefathers, divine creed and principle, right? So when we understand this, to bind yourself back to this divine creed and principles is to actually bind yourself back to the thinking and mind of your ancient forefathers. To restore you back to the thinking of when you were a ruler of this said world. Within our religion is the mind, the exact mind and thinking of our forefathers. And this is what we need to return to. The mind state that our ancient forefathers demonstrated when we rule the world. It's something the Marines say. They say, he who controls the water also controls the land, right?
Right.
Half of us can't even swim.
You got a point.
And we talk. So just from that simple perspective right there, I always challenge ones in the religion aspect. You bet to get you one. Have we not studied the First Amendment?
Exactly. Exactly.
So
freedom of religion.
the freedom of religion. But when we look at this, right, every nation's constitution is nothing but a codified text of their religion. Because their constitution holds within it their view of the world. Divine Constitution and Bylaws, Act 6. We're speaking about how we view the world.
That's it. That's it. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you this question because somebody asked the question.
Yes.
Somebody on the chat wants to know, what temple are you a sheik of?
The Moorish-American Temple of America, Branch Temple number 3, located in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Islam. There you have
Islam.
it. That answers your question. It says, somebody said, Star Child. Islam, our sisters and brothers from the island should know how to swim. Star Child. Okay. All right. Yes. So we're going to move on to another aspect of your book. And what I like about your book is that you go into definitions. You don't just give one definition. So that opens up a door for people to get different perspectives on these terms and these concepts. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, many people just have one idea of what a particular term is, if that makes sense.
Yes, sir.
So with that, I want to read a portion of your book. I'm going to read a portion of your book and getting into this aspect of political status. Okay. Well, before we even do that, let's I want to go head here and deal with that. This portion is in page 20. It says here, nationality in this free national government of the United States of America encompasses citizenship, which is identified by both descent and allegiance to a state/government, along with participation, which is known as civics. And then it says, allow me to define civics from the free online dictionary. You give one definition saying civics is the study of the rights and duties of citizenship. Then you go and say, it is very important that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali was aware of this fact, as we see written in the Moorish literature published by the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali, that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali incorporated the Moorish Science Temple of America, or I'm sorry, the Moorish Temple of Science as a civic organization in the year 1925. Okay. Then it goes on, and then it speaks about how it was later incorporated as a religious organization. So you spoke to the matter of religion. And so obviously Noble Drew Ali incorporating the Moorish Science Temple of America later on as a religious organization, because he said because the work was largely religious. When we speak about this and we see the state of our brothers and sisters, some of our brothers and sisters now, where they have this conception of nationality being an aspect of paperwork.
Oh,
we're gonna dive into that. And I know matter of fact, I believe we've had personal phone conversations about how, there's been brothers and sisters who've come to us in the temple, and they come with a misconception, and it bears itself in different ways. So can you speak to that and just clearly give an understanding of what nationality is and what is not? Because you actually have a section that says what nationality is and what it is not.
All right. All right, let me see. Because see, this is a conversation right here. Wow. Being especially being the Sheik in the Moorish Science Temple of America, I have to deal with this concept quite often.
Right.
What nationality is not, let me deal with that. Nationality is not a get out of jail free card. Nationality is not an avenue in which you can take to be, what should I say, lawless. Nationality is not a tool in which we use to overthrow the constitution of the said government or to cause confusion. We know that the motto of this particular country, I don't even want to go into the Latin pronunciation of it, because I don't even think my mouth is working like that right now. But I would say the meaning of it means out of many, one. Right? Now, let me say this. Nationality is not on paper. Nationality is not on paper. Nationality is a quality of character. So therefore, those two words are automatically speak to an action.
Right.
Nationality is not on paper. Nationality is in your quality and character. So to walk around holding a piece of paper saying this is my nationality, only thing you're holding is a piece of paper with words on it.
Facts.
Because I could carry around anything, right? Just like we can all run around with state IDs in our pockets saying that we are what? Citizens of this said state, but what? Being total variants of it. So really, who are you? So your nationality is not on paper. Your nationality is a quality and character that arises for belonging to a said nation or state. So now let's look at that. And that's interesting, brother Shemel, because it says nation and or state,
Right.
right? So it's so in a way we can look at that as it viewing and encompassing our national descent as well as our allegiance to a said government. That's what nationality is. Nationality is not your ticket into being an anarchist.
Right.
We're for peace and not destruction. We're for love, truth, peace, and freedom. And when those principles are violated, justice must then take its course. So nationality is not on paper. Nationality is not an avenue in which we can overthrow the constitution of this said government. It's not. It's actually something that brings us from outside of the constitutional fold of government back into the constitutional government. Right? It was just it's kind of you remember how the 14th Amendment forced the South to accept certain things to come back into the Union?
Exactly.
Right? This is your ticket back into the constitutional fold, similar to that. Because because to consider yourself anything that alludes to slavery is what?
It's a sin. It's unconstitutional. But yeah.
Right. So therefore, nationality brings you back into the constitutional fold of government. So a lot of people think nationality is a means to which, we can be lawless, we can be outlaws, we can just buck the system, and that is not what nationality is at all, at all, at all.
Islam, definitely. And to your point, I think that one of the things that we, and I'm speaking of us as members and even leaders within the Moorish Science Temple of America, should be diligent in is clearly explaining, like you said, what nationality is and what it is not, because our people seem to be the only people that have this issue in terms of knowing how to apply nationality. This misconceptions about nationality, because like you said, if you belong to a nation, nationality is that quality of character which arises from the fact that one belonging to a nation or state. If you belong to a nation, then you have a nationality. You don't see no Chinese people filing paperwork at the county courthouse. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen it yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
no.
so obviously something is awry. Something's missing here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
we have to be able to, like the prophet said, speak in an intelligent tone, and you get a favorable reply.
And then it's like in the streets they got this thing. It's in me, not on me. It's in me, not on me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nationality is me.
Yeah.
It's not something that I carry around in my pocket.
Exactly.
Right. And then when we look at it like this, it doesn't make sense to me. It never made sense to go to the same people who are responsible for stripping you of your nationality to acknowledge your nationality. Well, it doesn't make sense. Why would I go? They already know who I am.
Right. Right.
You know, what sense does that make? I think that I should just be what I know, right?
Exactly. Be what you know.
And be what we, and that's so powerful.
Yes.
Because guess what that does? When you can just be what you know, that places the power back in your hand.
Right. Right.
You know,
not to cut your wisdom, I just want to add this to you. And I know you probably have a similar story. I have literally been in situations since I've been in the temple where I've seen Moors or have been somewhat familiar with Moors who have gone into courts.
Oh man.
With the fezzes and everything, and they get violated. And I've been in the same court.
Yeah.
No paperwork, just of course my fez, but it's the character. That's what I try to drive home. Nationality is the quality of character. If your character is not representative of the nation you belong to, then you don't have that nationality.
Right and exact.
You feel what I'm saying? So
and
yeah.
I think that alludes to something else that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, that you know, what did he say? Just because you were born here don't make you
a citizen. Yeah.
Yeah, because many of us are born here but don't have the character.
Right. Right.
Many of us are born here. See, this is why we have civics. Civics is the duties and responsibilities
being a
of
citizen.
citizenship, right? So there's duties and responsibilities to being a citizen.
Yes.
Right? So these duties and responsibilities is what actually makes you a citizen.
Absolutely.
So if you're not adhering to those duties and responsibilities, if you don't have that quality or character, you don't have that nationality.
Exactly.
And that's just that. I don't know why my fans keep leaning, bro. Yeah, you don't have that nationality. So we have to look at that. And that automatically what? That automatically what? Takes your identity off the piece of paper.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. It takes your identity off the piece of paper because, as you said, brothers go into these courtrooms, feds up. I mean, if you know, the common person would look at it and be like, "Whoa, who is this guy?" But then you go into these courtrooms and they treat you like a complete nothing.
Yeah.
I tell brothers, language is law, brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You go into this courtroom demonstrating this. See, this, that feds, this right here, the nationality card, the button, the term, all of those speak to a specific character.
Yes.
And when you are wearing these particular ornaments, wearing these particular regalia, and your character don't match, that's a problem. And guess what? When you don't notice yourself, others notice you best.
Yeah.
So we have to get out of this thing that the European don't know.
Right.
And do Moors think, and I like to ask you this question, brother, do Moors think that the European don't know who we are?
I don't know how they don't, but what the prophet said, what thing surprised me is if a Moor do right. So I see that, there are those who they involve themselves in a delusion. You know what I'm saying? They delude themselves into thinking certain things. And but if you have good common sense, some good common sense, um, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you it's plain.
Right.
It's plain as day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And even in the prophet's literature, that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing. What I love about your book is that you make the references to the prophet's literature,
Yes,
because
sir.
all of the key components, the key factors about nationality, what we're saying here, it's in the literature.
Yes,
It's
sir.
in the
Most definitely.
prophet's literature. We haven't deviated from the literature. We may all have our measure of understanding of it, but we
Yes, sir.
use it as the reference point.
Right.
And I think that's important. If
Right.
for those who attach themselves to this movement, now if you identify with something else, then that's on you. But when you start, because a lot of these Moors, they'll say Noble Drew Ali. They'll say, what I'm saying, they'll say the temple. They'll use certain things from us. I've seen Moors post things, and I'm not saying it. And again, this is no one in particular. I'm just speaking in general what I've observed in social media.
Mm-hmm.
Certain ones have drawn from the divine constitution and bylaws, right? Which is divine constitution and bylaws of the Moorish Science Temple of America. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time will do something that's contrary to that constitution, and you'd be
Yes, sir.
like, you just posted it just to post it, as if to attach yourself to it, but you're not really that, So
Right.
yeah,
Right. What is a constitution? When we talk about the constitution of a thing,
yes, yes,
the makeup of a thing, you know, when we look at these constitution and bylaws, that speaks to the makeup of our character.
yes,
This is how we behave. This is how we govern ourselves. This is what we're about. This is what we stand on. And let's get to this. The conversation about citizenship is such a sensitive topic
mm,
because so many Moors don't want to be citizens.
yeah, right,
They, they, they're completely against it. But they'll say Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Let's get this. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali galvanized over 3,000 Moors to the poll in 1928, did he not?
facts, yep,
Now, from the last time I checked, you had to be a citizen to vote, right?
correct,
Oh, so we did participate in government.
yeah,
We are citizens.
had to be,
So where does the see? And then now we have to identify where these foreign ideals come from. And a lot of these Moors don't even know that they're carrying the ideology of racist, Southern, Confederate, Christian Europeans. I said it. I said what I said.
facts,
And again, language is law. And you go into these courtrooms speaking this nonsense, they know what that is.
they should do. They already know.
They created it.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So we listen. I think I heard our brother say this too. That Brother Aniel Bey also said, man, you know, that a lot of people don't even, many of us in society don't even have our own thoughts, man.
Mm.
We're controlled by the narrative and the thinking and the thoughts of our oppressors. Let's just say it like that. In one way, shape, form, or fashion.
Right.
And what's crazy is, and what's shameful is that now even their ideology and their concepts are leaking it, finding its way into our systems of liberation. What's going on here? We're continuously doing what? Straying after the gods of
Europe, of
Europe,
whom we
whom
know
we
nothing.
know nothing. Because we know that a man's ideal is his God. And as man unfolds, his God unfolds.
Right.
That is not the ideal of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. That has nothing to do with me. And that type of ideology has nothing to do with the Moorish Science Temple of America, Divine and National Movement. Nothing, absolutely nothing. You know? And so it gets hard, brother, because you think about it, brother. You got Moorish Americans like us who have children or raising children in this society. And our children are going to come up wearing this, carrying a nationality card, saying that they're Moorish Americans. And guess what? I don't want my child to carry the burden that has been created by those who propagate an ideal that has nothing to do with being a Moorish American Muslim. Nothing.
The more you said it. I got a question that came on the chat. I'm going to show it.
Yes, sir.
Mahana Speaks says this: white means purity, and purity means God. God is the ruler of the land. According to the great holy prophet Noble Drew Ali, didn't say anything negative about white. Why do you?
When did I say anything negative about white? Only thing I'll say is, only thing I've said about white is that it's not a proper identifier. Just as the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that there's no black man, black, Negro, or colored attached to the human family, there's no white man, white people attached to the human family. I can't find that in any divine record, anywhere. However, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali really didn't say anything negative about black either. Only thing he insinuated is that it means death. He did not say it is death. He said it means death according to science. So he didn't say anything negative about either word, honestly. But what he did say that that's not a proper way to identify a human being by colors. It's just not. Just like we say there's no black land, no black flag, ain't no white flag, and no white land either. All of these both. So what we do understand is that both of these particular terms in this government speaks to a said state or condition. That's what it speaks to. So it's not, I'm not demonizing white or black. I'm not demonizing either. Because there's it's what isn't there what type of ministry in death, brother man?
It's a divine ministry in death.
Okay.
Death is no enemy of man.
Right. So if it's no enemy, there's a divine ministry in it. It's actually nothing wrong. We're not demonizing it.
Right.
Death is a friend that comes along and cuts the cord binding the human boat to this earth land that it may sail on smoother sea. We're not demonizing black or white. Right. But what we are doing is speaking against the improper mode of trying to identify ourselves by these particular colors in this said government. Like I said, if you want to be white or black in your bathroom, in your living room, cool. you know. But I think it would be smart to be very cautious of how you would try to identify yourself with this said government, because like I said, a name alludes to a state or condition. And I don't think, you know, it would be smart or intelligent, rather, to identify ourselves with color or anything that's not attached to the human family. Islam?
Islam, Islam, Islam. Sister Lakima Atabey Roll Bay. Nationality is the order of the day. Islam. That's right. It sure
Yes,
is.
sir.
It is.
Nationality is most definitely the foundation of humanity.
Absolutely. And what I want to do, brother, is I want to add to what you speaking is just so fitting that your last portion of the book, you put in the article, what shall we call him? So
Oh
I
yeah.
want to speak to that portion that as you talked about the colors of the race, where it says the matter of the various names given to these 22 million people with all colors of race of the globe was an act of European psychology.
Yeah.
They gave him a name, then defined it as something inferior to theirs. White, they define as a color of purity. Black, they say, represents everything of evil.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm just stopping right there. So to your point, and the sister Lawanda Hazelette Bay said, nationality is the order of the day, otherwise we will be lost. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We would be lost. And we get lost in this, like this crayon box and this system of identifying through this social construct called race, and we fighting over it that doesn't connect us to any nation of people.
Racial, when we actually get into the fact that racial classification is an illusion anyway, it's made up.
Exactly. It is. Absolutely.
It's made up. It was made to do exactly what it's doing. To put a group of people on top and a group of people on the bottom. That's just what it does.
Yes.
It's called a caste system.
Yeah.
You know, and I strive not to even play the game, Mo.
Right. Right. I'm with you.
You know, I don't even play. Yeah, I'm not even playing the game. You
Right.
know, I don't even. I can't be held to the rules of the game if I don't play it.
True.
You know, so I think it's. Did you like the statement? Nationality is the order of the day.
Right.
The order of the day.
Right.
You know,
Right.
this is the way. This is how society is set up today.
Right.
This is the way it goes. So that's the importance of knowing how nationality works in this government today. Now, all men now. You get that?
Right.
All men now. See, the prophet was speaking very definitively. Now, must. You know? And I think those words should be honed in on. You know what I mean?
Right.
And as I tell the Moors here, you know, I always encourage them to read slow. Read very slow, because things come into manifestation in slow ethers. So I tell them to read slow so they can make sure that they can comprehend and every word has its necessary impact. So we can have clarity, because clarity and comprehension and context seems to be a moving target these days.
Right.
That's why we have the issues that we have. You know, it's context. Context, whoa. You know, I say that all the time. Context is key. Without it, you know, it's like driving down the street with no destination thinking you're gonna accomplish something. You know? So yeah, man, the order, bro. Like this is just the way it is, you know?
There you have it. There you have it. Well, brothers and sisters, I appreciate everyone um, who joined on. I appreciate your comments. I'm going to post again the link to get the book. Again, this is the book by the brother
Islam.
Sheik Seven Islam Nationality of Moorish-American Perspective.
Hey, yo, brother, guess
Yeah.
what? This is gonna be weird. I don't even have a copy of that myself.
Wow.
I got my copies coming though. They're on the way, but they haven't even hit my doorstep yet. So,
Okay.
it's good to see that somebody else has it, and I don't even have it.
Absolutely.
Islam,
Brother.
it's an honor, man. It's an honor and gratitude for your support, brother, man.
Brother, it's an honor is mine, brother. And again, you're welcome to come on anytime, and we can chop it up and build.
Yes, sir.
For those who may be interested in reaching out and communicating with you, what contact information could you provide and how they want to get with you?
You can catch me on Facebook, Sheik Seven Islam L, just like you see it right there on the screen. Um, Type it in there. You can find me that way. You can find me on IG at Sheik Seven. You can also get with me at email address amaniheaven@gmail.com. That's IMANIHEAVEN @gmail.com. You can contact me there, and if you can contact me either way, that way you can ask me for my number. I'll be glad to give it to you. And I just, yeah, man, I'm always open to build. I love to build. I'm always striving to, do my part and build a better day and a better tomorrow.
Absolutely, brother. Definitely appreciate you, brother. And
Yes,
yeah, definitely, I appreciate everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed everybody's input. Your questions. We embrace it all. If you agree with us, don't agree with us. At the end of the day, it's all love. We're about love, true peace, freedom, and justice, and we're gonna keep the conversation going. You know what I'm saying? Because we
all the
need
way.
to do that. So with that,
And
yes,
I like to inform the people I have. I also have 2 more books I'm planning to release, and I'm planning to re-release The Prophet and the Messenger. I actually not going to re-release the first one. I'm actually going to go in and revise it, add on to it, and put out a second edition.
okay.
But then I also have a book that I'm going to release called Jesus, the Man, the Mystery. And also I'm gonna have a book called Muhammadan. So we're gonna get it in. you know, I hope that I hope ones enjoyed both books that that book as well as the other book. I'm just trying to do my part, you know what I'm saying, and
Right.
contributing into, the because we gotta change the literature more, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm just striving to do my part in that more. Um, because it's so many people writing our story that had that has no place in it by all
Mm-hmm.
actual fact, and
Right.
I feel like that's an injustice within itself, because you got ones who write upon these certain topics, and they're not qualified to do so,
Yeah.
and what happens is that does a disservice to each and every one who's listening, because it serves as a distraction to the actual facts,
Mm-hmm.
and we got to do our part in straightening out those crooked places along the way,
Yeah.
and that's my portion. I want ones to know. My book on Mohammedanism is going to be completely about understanding Islam, you know, from a Moorish perspective as well as a universal perspective, you know. And I think it's that must be done, you know, because so many of our people in our communities, they run from Islam, bro. They hear Islam and they take off running. You know? Uh and the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said this. He said, you know, you don't want Islam because it's yours.
Right.
They've conditioned us to hate everything that's of us, to disregard everything that's of us,
Right.
and cling to everything that's not. And I think that, you know, it's my duty, it's a part of my duty to attempt and doing my part in straightening out those crooked places along the way, brother, man. Because like I say, we got children,
Right.
you know, and we can't continue to leave them exposed to the same things that we were exposed to,
Indeed.
you know. So, no, let's all do our part. Let's all do our part. If you got the ability to write, do your part. I encourage everybody, do your part. You know, we can look out into the history and see how the European has taken the pen and the pad and whipped us with it.
So true.
Took the pen and the paper and whipped us with it. And we got to do what? We got to whip ourselves back into shape the same way.
Right.
So, you know, I encourage everybody, you know, to do their part. And if you have the ability, if you have the intelligence to pick that pen up and write, do it. Because we need more people writing our story from a truthful perspective.
Islamism. Appreciate you more.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
everybody here. And without further ado, until next time, peace and love.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.